Next item is parkland acquisition.
I have a statement to read. As part of West Vincent Township's ongoing effort to fulfill the vision of its Ludwig's Corner strategic vision and community design plan for a compact, walkable traditional village center containing a blend of municipal, commercial, and residential uses, the township will tonight commence condemnation proceedings to acquire the land owned by Ludwig's Corner Horse Show Association for a public park. The property, which contains approximately 33.2 acres, is located on the western side of Pottstown Pike, Pennsylvania Route 100, the southwestern side of Nant Mill Road, and the northeastern side of Conestoga Road, Pennsylvania Route 401. West Vincent Township decided to proceed with condemnation proceedings after much deliberation and after being unable, following several years of discussion, to achieve a conventional real estate purchase from the Ludwig's Corner Horse Show Association. The acquisition will enable the township to permanently protect this open land from commercial and residential development and provide an easily accessible public center for sports, leisure, and community activities that will benefit all township residents and the surrounding community. The township plans to use the land for both active and passive recreational purposes, including playing fields for local youth leagues. The township will work with the Ludwig's Corner Horse Show Association to continue its annual horse show, a highly prized West Vincent tradition. Funding for the purchase will come from cash reserves currently held by the township, as well as additional proceeds from a bond refinancing. The bond refinancing will result in an interest rate reduction that will largely offset the cost of the additional borrowing. The township does not anticipate the need for a tax increase in order to fund the parkland acquisition. Once the parkland is acquired, the township will proceed with the creation of a master park plan. It will then seek matching grant funding to construct recreational facilities.
I have a resolution to read here. It's resolution number 20 of 2011. This is a resolution of the Board of Supervisors of West Vincent Township, Chester County, Pennsylvania, selecting and appropriating through eminent domain a tract of land situated in West Vincent Township, Chester County, Pennsylvania, owned by the Ludwig's Corner Horse Show Association. Whereas West Vincent Township, Chester County, Pennsylvania, the township is a political subdivision existing under and governed by the Pennsylvania Second-Class Township Code. Whereas the township has identified the need to acquire additional lands for township public purposes, including but not limited to active recreation, parkland, and associated purposes. Whereas the Ludwig's Corner Horse Show Association, a nonprofit corporation hereafter known as the owner, is the owner of a tract of land situated at the western side of Pottstown Pike, Pennsylvania Route 100, the southwestern side of Nant Mill Road, and the northeastern side of Conestoga Road, Pennsylvania Route 401. Containing 33.2 plus or minus acres of land, and identified as being in Chester County Uniform Parcel Identifier numbers 25-6-4 in its entirety, and 25-6-5 in its entirety, collectively known as the property. Whereas pursuant to the Second-Class Township Code 53 PS Section 68401 and the Eminent Domain Code 26 PS Section 1401, the township is entitled to acquire fee simple title in properties such as the property through eminent domain proceedings. Whereas the township has previously attempted to negotiate for the purchase of the property but is unable to reach acceptable terms with the owner, now therefore be it resolved that the township, in accordance with the authority conferred by law, selects and appropriates by condemnation the property for public purposes, including but not limited to active recreation, parkland, and associated purposes. Title to be acquired in the property shall be fee simple. The Township Board of Supervisors, both individually and collectively, the Township Manager, Township Solicitor, and other Township staff are hereby authorized to file a declaration of taking and to institute and prosecute such other proceedings, filings, and notices, including the entry of a bond as may be necessary or desirable to carry out the purposes of this resolution. Number 4, the Township Board of Supervisors, both individually and collectively, the Township Managers, Township Solicitor, and other Township staff shall be authorized to attempt to negotiate an agreement of sale pursuant to terms acceptable to the Township for the purchase of the property in lieu of condemnation prior to filing any documents required under the Second-Class Township Code and Pennsylvania Eminent Domain Code, and such representatives of the Township are authorized to offer to pay to the condemnees to obtain immediate ownership of the property by the fair and reasonable amount of damages for the purchase or condemnation of the same as estimated by the Township. It bears emphasis that the township representatives are not obligated to negotiate with the owner pursuant to this paragraph, and nothing herein shall be construed to limit the authority or ability of the township to otherwise proceed pursuant to this resolution. The cost of the institution of such proceedings and any damages that may be awarded to the owner or any cost to acquire the fee simple title to the property shall be paid out of the funds of the township. Approved by the Board of Supervisors of West Vincent Township on the 28th day of November 2011.
I make that motion.
A second?
Any comment?
Go ahead.
Artie's first.
Yeah, Ken, is there a real necessity to acquire this ground? I mean, to go into eminent domain and take somebody's property for the sake of the township?
We think there is.
This isn't a school or anything like this, it's just, you wanna take this. Now, when you wanna do this, you wanna put ball fields in there. That's not exactly a level area. It's gonna cost an awful lot just to do that.
We've considered all the possibilities and all the expenses that we might incur.
And what's the amount of those expenses?
The property's been appraised, and at this time, we can't let out the number of the appraisal.
Okay.
Kit?
Well, that was basically my question as far as what the cost of it was going to be. Because the statement that Claire read said that it wasn't expected to, be more than add to the borrowing because of lower interest rate, but it's hard to, I was wondering how you determined that. I guess you're working with a number.
We are working with a number, but we're not at liberty to disclose it until we have discussions with the worship.
And then, just to, a little further on Art's question, I mean, he asked, you think this is important enough that to institute eminent domain? Is there more that you can say about that? Because, like, why? What the board sees that makes it that important?
I think that if you, there's copies of the statement that Claire just read, they'll be available. I guess they are available. If you read that, I think it'll, and you understand what we said in there, I think a lot of those concerns will be answered.
Does anybody else want more answers on that tonight, or we just go?
We really, at this time, are at liberty to give out a whole lot more information right now. Barry has his hand up.
Just a statement about cash reserves. How much do we have in cash reserves currently in the township?
About 970,000.
And that's not open space money, that's just cash
Correct.
reserves? Okay.
Correct. Debbie, first.
I just wondered, you said that the horse show would continue there, so whatever fields would be put in areas,
Yeah, that wouldn't affect. the
corner
whole show.
areas,
Yes.
or,
There's lots of room.
there are already fields there.
There are.
Yeah, okay.
Chris Matthews.
What about the other shows, like the dog shows or other events? Would they still be able to continue?
We're open to any of those events. Continue.
And of course, the fireworks.
Actually, we'd like to
We'd
bring
like
the
to bring
fireworks
those
back.
back.
Yeah, we'd like to bring those back.
Would you like to do fireworks, Chairman? Oh, right. And then,
Sharon?
Sharon.
Oh, okay.
No, well, my initial reaction is, geez, this doesn't sound fair, because I don't like the words eminent domain. However, I do trust the judgment of the board, and so I'm calmly thinking there must be good reasons to do this.
May I elaborate on reasons? Is that a problem for anybody?
not for me.
When the Ludwig Corner Master Plan was done, that area was designated as a public park. We're basically trying to implement the Ludwig Corner Master Plan while the market conditions are at their best, while we have the money here. It is our belief that a good portion of the horse show board may be fine with this.
Okay, Artie?
What about the gun clubs that's there? Would that be allowed to continue?
We have thought about that. We haven't determined what we're going to do about that yet. Remember, though, we've had several complaints from neighbors for several years now about that.
Yeah, but precisely, it's been there, 50 years? Is there any reason to discontinue it?
It's something we have to determine.
One reason to discontinue it would be that the purpose of this eminent domain taking is for a public park. So to have shooting on a public park, they may not be compatible uses. So we'll have to examine that.
Other comments? been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.